Welcome back, guys. It's Alvin here with another adventure and another indie gem I don't see enough people talking about. I'm talking about Perennial Order, a 2D Souls-like boss rush game. And lately, I find myself more and more coming across boss rush games, and I'm not quite sure if it has anything to do with the success of Black Myth Wukong, and maybe subconsciously I'm more open to the genre now, or if it's just one giant coincidence. But if I take a hard look at my gaming history, I noticed that there are boss rush games that I've played before, or even the elements of a boss rush genre were present in the games I was playing. Looking back at games like Fury, Titan Souls, and we even see it in games nowadays adding their very own boss rush mode. This genre has existed in plain sight, and I've been too blind to it. One of my favorite games, Cuphead, originally started as a boss rush title. It got me thinking, and so I set apart some time in the future to adventure to some upcoming boss rush titles, as well as look back at some older ones. I'm going to make a separate playlist for the channel so you could follow that journey. And if you want to keep up to date with those latest videos, just subscribe. And as well, leave some recommendations in the comments below. And as always, guys, let's move on with the video. Perennial Order is a 2D boss rush game set in a dark age world plagued by nature-infested horrors. It follows you, an undying perennial knight who journeys to rid the garden world of the pestilent horrors. As with most Souls-like game, it opens up with a similar premise. You awaken with no recollection of your past, and as you progress through the bosses, you'll slowly begin to unravel your past and the secrets of the world. When it comes to Perennial Order story, you can expect a similar experience to that of a Souls-like game. And that's not a bad thing, because frankly, that's one of my most favorite parts about playing these games, is just coming up with theories, trying to decrypt these cryptic messages. This game feeds you cryptic messages through its unique NPCs, like the world Santa Claus, through the side quests, and the lore notebook that can be looked at for a more in-depth look, all tied together with a dark and muddy art style that is dripping with life. Now let's talk combat, and we can't talk combat without speaking on the one-hit death mechanic first. Yes, one hit equals death. If future me would have told me that I'd be doing a no-hit boss run, I would have told him,
"You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy."
There is a total of 15 unique bosses, each with their own distinct battle music. This isn't a boss rush game where you're fighting one boss immediately after the other, and while some would argue that would be the purpose of a boss rush game, I'm glad they went with the latter, because while the boss battles are a lot of fun, we would have missed out on some wonderful moments and world building. It was the in-between moments that really enhanced my experience. The world of Perennial Order can be brutal, but so satisfying once you have the boss attack patterns down, but also so heartbreaking when you see the boss you finally defeated has a second stage. The game follows a twin-stick melee combat system. Simply for you controller players out there, you move with the left stick and point the right joystick in the direction you wish to attack. You have your standard quick attack that does minimal damage, and then you have a charged attack that does significant damage. You can only prompt this by timing it correctly, and letting go of the attack button on the yellow part of the gauge. Failing to do so would drastically reduce your damage output. Learning when to evade and when to punish is crucial for winning your encounters, because that extra second filling the gauge could mean the difference between being that guy.
"You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy."
The game also comes with multiplayer, so you can choose to go solo or journey the whole game with a friend. You also have multiple saves, so you can keep the playthrough separate. While I didn't experience the co-op experience, from my understanding, in two-player mode, you both fight the boss, and if one player dies, that dead player returns in spirit form and can aid the living player by using co-op specific abilities called vestiges. Love this, because I'd probably be the one that's dead and just constantly be waiting more than playing the game. At the start of the game, you'll come across these wisps that give you the ability to dash. It's both used as a method of faster travel and to evade boss attacks. When you dash, you're invulnerable to attacks, and at your standard build, you have 3 wisps, and you can dash up to 3 times. Although your wisps respawn seconds after being used, you want to conserve your dashes. You don't want to get caught out there in the middle of battle with no way out. When you see the wisp reappear on screen, you'll know your dash is back. In Perennial Order, you have something called instincts that resemble talents more than they do abilities, and you can have multiple instincts active at one time, as long as you have enough points, of course. Instincts come in passive forms and more active forms, like offensive attacks. Some instincts will also consume a number of wisps when the ability provided by the instinct is activated, while some are always active and don't require the consumption of a wisp. For example, toggling on the instinct that gives you more wisps is pretty straightforward. You just gain an additional wisp. But choosing the instinct to remove all your wisps at the benefit of an increased damage is an instinct that is always active. At first glance, where the game appears to fall short is that you only have one weapon, but that's where the instincts come into play. You have a total of 32 instincts to choose from, and toggling particular instincts on will give you a third form of attack. You have things from the Fallen Strike that propels you forward to strike an enemy, and if you land a hit, it instantly regenerates a wisp. Or Thorn Bloom, which wraps your weapon in thorns, and your next attack does significantly more damage. Your instincts can significantly change the way you do combat. You can choose to evade everything, which is my preferred method, or enable the parry instinct if that's more your playstyle. And the game isn't punishing in that aspect. As nothing is permanent, you simply toggle the instincts on and off. You have an allotted amount of points, and the instincts all cost different amount of points. Just choose the right ones for you, and this is great because the bosses are unique from one another and will need all different approaches. In Perennial Order, the points you use for the instincts are called memories. You can find additional memories by completing these excruciating difficult jumping puzzles that is pretty much just one big deadly obstacle course, and if you're not careful enough can take as long as your boss battles do. These puzzles were a nice break in between the boss fights, and they are very well hidden in the world, so keep a lookout for them. And then in regard to the instincts, they can be earned by defeating bosses and exploring the world. In some cases, there's obstacles in your way and you'll need to find your way around it. And now lastly, I'll touch on the level design. Perennial Order has a wide range of areas to explore that all look very distinct from one another. Locations range from the snowy mountains where you'll come across a giant chess master, to the obscure misty zone that harbors something deadly, to the dark and creepy abyss caves. The areas are all unique and you'll never be confused about where you are. Additionally, there's an instinct that you get very early on in the game. It'll summon a wisp that will guide you to all the bosses if you ever lose your way, which is something that I really appreciated because the game doesn't have fast travel, so it would be really annoying to have to travel from one side of the map to the other with nothing but your dashes just looking for your next boss encounter. I didn't confirm this, but the game seems to have an open approach when it comes to which boss you can fight next. Of course, there are some exceptions, but for the most part, there's this main area and in the center of the map that branches out, and for the most part, you're free to go whichever direction your heart desires, unless it's to another woman, as my girlfriend would say. There are also secrets and side quests scattered across the map, and while there aren't many, when I did encounter them, they were memorable. Particularly the romance quests, which had you being a message courier for these two giants who were madly in love, and the way you commuted between the two was just hilarious. One thing they did really well with the level design is the way these trees obscure part of your screen, where it almost feels like you're always kind of being watched. Not sure if this was on purpose or not, but it's one of the things I liked, and it was fitting for the story, seeing how we are a perennial knight brought back to life by some higher being that is constantly whispering in the protagonist's ear. Perennial Order currently sits at $20 on the Steam page, and it took me approximately 15 hours to complete. I have no doubt people on the internet will half that time, but the game itself still has a good chunk of content, and even adds a boss rush mode at the end where you can fight the bosses immediately after the other. The game also has different endings, and the developers have made it extremely easy to go back for those endings, as I did. I came out beyond impressed by this game, especially when I learned this game was developed by 4 people and was made by a brand new studio, this game being its first game. And to have launched with little to no bugs is beyond impressive. And even more impressed when I learned that the team met via Reddit and Discord. Perennial Order is a big win for the boss rush genre, and I really hope that this genre begins to get the recognition it deserves. Honestly, boss battles are some of the most memorable experiences we'll ever have in video games. Like, we can play a video game, we might not memorize everything about it, but we will remember the boss battles. And having a game solely based on that is a formula for such a great experience. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought of Perennial Order. And with that, I'll leave you guys. Thank you so much for checking out the video. And don't forget to give this video a like. We are still relatively a new channel, so it does help us a lot. And don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date with our boss rush journey, as well as the other videos that I'll be posting out. And as always, guys, take care of yourselves. Peace.